The 1940s were a tough time for car enthusiasts on a budget. Following World War II, American automakers quickly resumed production, but the focus was often on getting cars out the door rather than on refining their engines. Many low-cost cars were equipped with engines that were either outdated or poorly engineered, leading to endless headaches for those who couldn't afford better options. This chapter covers 10 of the worst American car engines of the 1940s that left low-income buyers struggling with frequent breakdowns, poor performance, and inefficient designs.
Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support.
Number 10. 1941. Plymouth Deluxe 6. 1941. Plymouth Deluxe 6 was designed as a practical, no-frills vehicle intended for reliable daily driving during an era when many American families were purchasing their first car. Powered by the 218 cubic-inch inline-six flathead engine, the Deluxe 6 aimed to deliver dependable transportation rather than high performance. However, this flathead engine, while suitable for city driving, faced several challenges, including severe underpowering, frequent overheating, and oil leaks. These limitations impacted the vehicle's appeal, particularly as automotive engineering evolved in the post-war years. The Plymouth Deluxe 6 was aimed at the working-class family that valued affordability and reliability over speed or power. It provided basic transportation with simple, sturdy construction and a reputation for durability. Plymouth opted to equip the Deluxe 6 with a flathead inline-six engine. Known for its basic, low-cost construction, the flathead design emphasized simplicity and ease of maintenance over performance. Plymouth targeted families and individuals looking for affordable transportation with straightforward mechanical components that could be serviced with relative ease, even at home. The 218 cubic-inch flathead inline-six was a common choice in pre-war American cars, with a straightforward design that emphasized ease of maintenance. The flathead configuration kept the valves in the block instead of the cylinder head, reducing complexity but also limiting airflow and performance. Producing around 87 horsepower, the 218 flathead engine was underpowered by modern standards. Even in its own era, it struggled to keep up with competing engines that were beginning to adopt overhead valve configurations for increased power and efficiency. Plymouth designed the engine for moderate speeds and conservative driving, primarily suited to city streets and shorter trips rather than highway driving. The limited power output restricted its appeal for those needing higher speeds or better acceleration. Despite its reliability as a basic engine, the 218 flathead inline-six faced several mechanical issues that diminished its effectiveness in providing a dependable driving experience, especially in the rapidly evolving automotive landscape of the 1940s. With only 87 horsepower, the 218 flathead struggled with acceleration, particularly when the car was fully loaded with passengers. This made it difficult to keep pace in traffic or climb inclines efficiently. Maintaining highway speeds was a common issue. The engine's limited power output meant that the Deluxe 6 often felt sluggish and unstable at higher speeds, which limited its appeal for longer trips or highway commuting. The engine's sluggish performance was often a source of frustration for owners who expected more from a vehicle marketed as suitable for deluxe driving. It was clear that the 218 flathead was better suited to low-speed city driving than to versatile multi-use driving. The flathead design, with its limited airflow and compact valve configuration, made the engine prone to overheating. The cooling system often struggled to maintain an adequate temperature, especially in warm climates or during extended drives. The flathead's design restricted air and coolant flow through the engine, which caused frequent overheating, particularly in stop-and-go traffic or under heavy loads. Regular overheating led to premature wear on the engine components, often causing more frequent breakdowns and repairs. This issue required owners to monitor coolant levels and be vigilant about overheating, adding to the maintenance burden. The 1941 Plymouth Deluxe 6 and its 218 flathead inline-six engine represent an era of conservative engineering with a focus on durability over performance. While the car succeeded in delivering a basic transportation solution, its underpowered engine, frequent overheating, and oil leak issues limited its appeal as a versatile, modern vehicle. For Plymouth, the Deluxe 6 served as a lesson in balancing reliability with consumer expectations for power and efficiency. In hindsight, the 218 flathead engine's issues foreshadowed the shift toward more advanced engine configurations and cooling technologies, marking the end of an era for flathead designs in American automotive history. The Deluxe 6 remains an important chapter in Plymouth's legacy, illustrating both the strengths and limitations of conservative design approaches in a rapidly evolving market. Number 9. 1947 to 1948, Hudson Commodore. 1947 to 1948. Hudson Commodore represents a fascinating period in American automotive history, emerging during the transitional post-war era. Hudson, known for producing high-quality and innovative cars, designed the Commodore as a top-tier offering with an emphasis on luxury and style. The vehicle featured a 303 cubic-inch inline-six engine meant to provide reliable power for the hefty upscale Commodore. However, this post-war model grappled with several engineering challenges, including underwhelming performance, cooling system issues, and frequent oil leaks. These problems ultimately affected the Commodore's reputation as a premier luxury car, revealing both the strengths and limitations of Hudson's engineering during this era. As one of Hudson's flagship models, the Commodore was marketed toward affluent buyers who desired luxury and a unique, innovative design. Its step-down unibody construction, introduced in 1948, lowered the car's center of gravity, providing a safer and more stable ride than many of its competitors. Hudson outfitted the Commodore with a 303 cubic-inch inline-six engine, an unusually large six-cylinder for the time. The choice of a large displacement inline-six instead of a V8 was intended to balance performance with smoother operation. With its spacious interior, stylish design, and focus on comfort, the Commodore appealed to buyers looking for a sophisticated, well-appointed vehicle suitable for both city and long-distance driving. The 303 cubic-inch inline-six engine was engineered to be powerful enough to manage the car's substantial weight while delivering a smooth, refined driving experience. With a long-stroke design typical of the era, the engine aimed to provide adequate torque rather than high-speed performance. The engine delivered around 121 horsepower, a respectable figure for the time, but still underpowered given the Commodore's size and weight. In practice, this power output resulted in sluggish acceleration and difficulty maintaining higher speeds, especially under full load or on hilly terrain. While Hudson intended for the Commodore to provide a luxurious driving experience, the underpowered engine meant it was often slow off the line and struggled with inclines, making it less versatile than buyers had hoped. Despite its aspirations as a luxury powerhouse, the 303 inline-six engine fell short in several key areas, making it a source of frustration for many Hudson owners. The Commodore's large body and heavy frame overwhelmed the 121 horsepower engine, leading to sluggish acceleration. The power-to-weight ratio was insufficient to meet the expectations of a premium car buyer who valued both smoothness and response. On highways, the engine struggled to maintain speeds comfortably, especially when carrying passengers or luggage. This made long-distance driving less enjoyable and limited the car's utility for those who desired versatile performance. The sluggish response disappointed buyers expecting a higher standard of performance from a luxury model, particularly as competitors began to introduce more powerful engines. The engine's cooling system was often unable to handle prolonged or strenuous driving conditions. The large engine block and limited airflow created persistent heat buildup, especially in warm climates or during stop-and-go traffic. Overheating became a regular issue, leading to higher maintenance costs and the risk of more severe engine damage if not promptly addressed. The inadequate cooling system meant that owners had to frequently check and refill coolant levels, creating an added maintenance responsibility that undermined the car's reputation as a luxury product. Hudson's 303 engine was plagued with oil leak issues, primarily around gaskets and seals. The leaks often stem from engine vibration and the natural wear and tear on gasket materials. Regularly addressing oil leaks increased maintenance costs and inconvenienced owners. Oil consumption also impacted operational costs, making the Commodore less economical than initially expected. Chronic oil leaks could lead to poor lubrication, increasing wear on engine components and shortening the engine's overall lifespan. The 1947 to 1948 Hudson Commodore and its 303 cubic inch inline-six engine represent a critical moment in post-war automotive history, showcasing both the ambitions and challenges of mid-century American luxury vehicles. Although Hudson was known for innovation, the Commodore's underpowered engine, frequent overheating, and oil leak issues ultimately hindered its appeal as a reliable, high-performing luxury car. These limitations provided valuable lessons for Hudson and the broader industry. As automotive technology progressed, the experiences with the Commodore's 303 inline-six influenced the shift toward more powerful, efficient engines and improved cooling systems. Number 8. 1947 to 1948 DeSoto Deluxe. 1947 to 1948. DeSoto Deluxe was marketed as a practical, reliable family sedan, positioned to appeal to middle-class buyers seeking both durability and comfort. With a robust 261 cubic inch inline-six engine, this model was meant to serve as a workhorse, reliable for daily commutes and longer drives. However, the reality of owning a DeSoto Deluxe often fell short of its promise. This engine, despite its large displacement, encountered significant challenges with overheating, oil consumption, carburetor malfunctions, and poor fuel efficiency. These issues led to high operational costs, frustrating owners who expected a more dependable vehicle from DeSoto. The DeSoto Deluxe occupied the mid-level segment of the market, offering solid engineering combined with a comfortable interior. It appealed to post-war buyers who sought a sturdy, practical car with room for families and cargo. The 261 cubic inch inline-six was selected to give the Deluxe a strong power profile for everyday driving and moderate hauling. Given its displacement, the engine had the potential to deliver decent torque, aligning with DeSoto's goal of marketing it as a reliable vehicle for varied driving conditions. At the time, DeSoto was competing with similar mid-market models from Dodge, Ford, and Chevrolet, which also relied on inline-six engines but were moving toward more efficient, modern designs. The 261 cubic inch inline-six was a flathead design, a configuration typical of the era. This layout was known for its simplicity and low production cost, but was beginning to show its age in terms of efficiency and power delivery. Despite its larger displacement, the 261 inline-six produced a modest power output, which was adequate for daily driving, but not enough to provide satisfying acceleration or robust highway performance. With a heavy steel body and the engine's dated design, fuel efficiency was low, even by mid-century standards. This poor economy made the Deluxe less appealing to cost-conscious buyers. Although DeSoto aimed to deliver a reliable vehicle, the 261 inline-six struggled with several recurring mechanical issues, ultimately diminishing the model's reputation. The cooling system in the DeSoto Deluxe was often insufficient to prevent heat buildup, particularly in warmer climates or during long drives. The flathead design did not allow optimal airflow, compounding the engine's tendency to run hot. Overheating was a major concern, especially during heavy use or when the car was loaded with passengers or cargo. Owners had to monitor coolant levels constantly, which added to maintenance burdens and detracted from the vehicle's practicality. Repeated overheating put stress on internal components, leading to faster wear and a need for costly repairs, which frustrated owners looking for longevity in their investment. The 261 inline-six had issues with oil consumption, often due to worn gaskets and seals that allowed oil to leak out. These leaks necessitated frequent top-ups and added to maintenance costs. Even when there were no visible leaks, the engine had a tendency to burn oil quickly. This created a constant need for monitoring and refilling, which added to operational costs and was a hassle for owners. As oil levels dropped, the engine's performance declined, further exacerbating the issues with overheating and poor efficiency. Owners often reported sluggish responses and reduced power when oil levels were low. The carburetor in the 261 engine frequently required tuning to function properly. Poor calibration led to erratic idling, rough starts, and, at times, stalling, particularly during colder weather or at higher altitudes. Constant carburetor issues resulted in additional trips to the mechanic for tuning, which added to the ongoing expense of owning a DeSoto Deluxe. Some owners found themselves learning basic carburetor adjustments to manage the frequent issues, detracting from the model's reliable reputation. The carburetor's inefficiency contributed to the car's poor fuel economy, as incorrect fuel-to-air ratios caused the engine to consume more fuel than necessary. This inefficiency was especially burdensome during the post-war period when fuel costs were rising. The 1947 to 1948 DeSoto Deluxe, with its 261 cubic inch inline-six engine, serves as a case study in the challenges of post-war automotive design. Despite being marketed as a reliable, versatile family vehicle, the Deluxe faced significant obstacles due to its underwhelming performance, cooling issues, oil consumption problems, and carburetor malfunctions. These challenges not only led to high operational costs, but also contributed to DeSoto's struggle to retain a competitive edge in the market. The lessons learned from the Deluxe's engineering missteps influenced subsequent advancements in engine design, paving the way for more efficient, durable, and user-friendly engines in later decades. Number 7, 1946 to 1948, Buick Special 6. 1946 to 1948. Buick Special 6 represented Buick's post-war attempt to deliver a dependable, practical vehicle for returning soldiers and the post-war economy. With a 241 cubic inch inline-six engine, Buick intended to offer a balance between reliability and moderate performance for family-oriented driving. However, this engine encountered a series of challenges that impacted the car's everyday usability. Issues such as overheating, oil leaks, and frequent carburetor problems undermined the model's reputation. Despite some redeeming qualities, the engine's lack of power and inconsistent performance left many owners disappointed. The Buick Special 6 was aimed at middle-class buyers seeking a reliable, spacious sedan. Buick positioned it as a practical family car, prioritizing comfort and traditional styling to appeal to conservative tastes. The 241 inline-six was a continuation of Buick's inline-six offerings, seen as an economical choice compared to the larger and more powerful V8s available in other models. It was designed to be easy to maintain and relatively efficient for the time. Buick marketed the Special 6 to families and post-war individuals looking for a solid vehicle with minimal frills. This model was designed to focus on practicality, which was well-suited to the economic realities of the immediate post-war period. The 241 cubic inch inline-six used a flathead or side valve configuration, common in the 1940s due to its simple design and ease of manufacturing. However, the flathead layout limited airflow, which contributed to several of the engine's performance issues. The engine delivered a modest power output, which was acceptable for city driving, but underwhelming on the highway. The lack of acceleration and the sluggish response made it difficult for drivers to navigate faster-paced environments. Although intended as an economical engine, the 241 inline-six's fuel efficiency was compromised by its outdated design and frequent mechanical issues, which required the engine to work harder and consume more fuel. The Buick Special 6's engine was known for a handful of recurring problems, some of which were related to the flathead design itself, while others stemmed from manufacturing choices and quality control. The cooling system was marginally adequate at best, struggling to dissipate the engine's heat efficiently. This was particularly problematic in warmer climates or during extended trips. Due to the side valve arrangement, the 241 inline-six tended to trap heat within the combustion chamber, leading to higher operating temperatures. This design flaw made it more susceptible to overheating, particularly when idling in traffic or navigating hilly terrain. Overheating wasn't just a nuisance. It accelerated wear on engine components, especially gaskets, seals, and even the cylinder head. Owners often reported needing frequent repairs due to the cumulative effects of overheating. The 241 inline-six was known for leaking oil, particularly from aging gaskets and seals that failed to maintain a tight seal under high temperatures. This was exacerbated by the flathead's tendency to run hot, which dried out rubber components and made leaks more frequent. Beyond visible leaks, the engine was also known for burning oil, which required regular top-ups and added to maintenance costs. This was not only inconvenient, but also reduced the car's appeal to buyers looking for low-maintenance vehicles. Oil leaks contributed to the perception that the Special 6 was high maintenance. Many owners had to perform regular upkeep, which undercut the model's market positioning as a practical, dependable family car. With a conservative power output, the 241 inline-six struggled to move the Buick Special 6 with any sense of urgency. Acceleration was lackluster, particularly when the car was loaded with passengers or cargo. As the post-war economy spurred growth in the highway system, the engine's lack of power became a more prominent drawback. The engine's poor acceleration and limited top speed made highway driving difficult and sometimes dangerous. Many owners noted that the engine felt strained at higher speeds, which led to a noisy and uncomfortable ride. This issue detracted from the Buick Special 6's appeal as a versatile, family-friendly vehicle. The 1946 to 1948 Buick Special 6, powered by its 241 cubic-inch inline-six engine, aimed to deliver practical, family-friendly transportation in the post-war era. However, its overheating issues, oil leaks, sluggish acceleration, and carburetor malfunctions made it a model that required more attention and maintenance than many buyers expected. While the Special 6 struggled to live up to its promise, it provided valuable lessons in automotive engineering. The model's challenges highlighted the limitations of flathead engines and underscored the need for more efficient cooling, improved sealing, and reliable fuel delivery. Number 6, 1947 to 1948 Pontiac Streamliner. 1947 to 1948 Pontiac Streamliner was introduced as a sleek, stylish vehicle aimed at capturing the optimism of the post-war automotive market. However, its 239 cubic-inch inline-six engine struggled to deliver the performance expected of a car with such an ambitious name and design. While the car's aesthetic captured attention, its engine failed to meet the demands of its size and style. The underpowered engine, paired with recurring issues like overheating and oil leaks, made the Streamliner a challenging vehicle to maintain and an example of post-war engineering that didn't fully meet the needs of the era. The Streamliner was marketed as a bold, visually captivating model with a streamlined look aimed at representing the future of American motoring. Pontiac emphasized its modern styling, hoping to appeal to consumers ready to embrace a more optimistic post-war design. Positioned as an accessible vehicle with luxurious styling cues, the Streamliner was targeted at middle-class families and individuals seeking a car that blended style with practicality. Pontiac opted for a 239 cubic-inch inline-six, which was considered adequate for everyday use, but struggled to deliver enough power to fully complement the car's large, weighty frame. The 239 cubic-inch engine employed a flathead design, which was typical of the time. The simplicity of the flathead layout made it relatively easy to manufacture and maintain, but had limitations in terms of power and efficiency. The engine was tuned for reliability rather than power, making it more suitable for slower-paced city driving. This conservative approach was a limiting factor for drivers who needed to maintain higher speeds or desired quicker acceleration. While fuel efficiency was modest, the engine's poor power-to-weight ratio hampered performance, especially for drivers who expected a smooth experience on highways or during prolonged trips. Despite its functional design, the 239 inline-six encountered a series of recurring issues that detracted from its reliability and performance. The engine's limited power output made acceleration sluggish, particularly for a car as large and heavy as the Streamliner. Drivers found the car slow to respond, especially when carrying passengers or cargo. The Streamliner struggled to keep up with emerging highway speeds, making it challenging to drive on open roads. The engine lacked the top-end power needed for overtaking, a common frustration among owners. Many drivers voiced their dissatisfaction with the car's sluggish response, which made it feel heavy and unresponsive, limiting its appeal to those looking for a versatile, responsive vehicle. The engine's cooling system was marginally effective, often unable to keep temperatures down during prolonged drives. This led to frequent overheating, especially in warmer climates or under heavy loads. The flathead configuration, while simple, trapped heat within the engine block, leading to higher operating temperatures. Without sufficient airflow, this design flaw became more noticeable, impacting reliability. Overheating had a cumulative effect, wearing down gaskets, seals, and other components, which in turn led to additional repairs and downtime for the car. The engine was prone to oil leaks, particularly as gaskets and seals wore down under high temperatures. Many owners reported leaks from the valve cover and oil pan, which required frequent maintenance. Beyond visible leaks, the engine also had a high rate of oil consumption, which increased the car's running costs. The need to frequently add oil was inconvenient for owners, detracting from the Streamliner's practicality. Oil leaks compounded the car's reputation for being high maintenance, as they frequently necessitated stops for top-ups and increased the likelihood of engine damage from insufficient lubrication. The Pontiac Streamliner was well received for its styling, but the limitations of the 239 inline-six engine impacted its reputation, highlighting the challenges of transitioning from wartime to peacetime production. The Streamliner's engineering reflected the resource constraints and conservative design philosophy of the post-war period. Pontiac chose to prioritize reliability over performance, which limited the model's appeal. As consumer expectations began shifting toward higher speeds and better performance, the underpowered engine of the Streamliner struggled to keep up. Competitors such as Chevrolet and Ford began exploring more powerful engines, leaving Pontiac at a disadvantage. The issues with the 239 inline-six highlighted the need for improved engine power and durability in future models. Pontiac would eventually shift focus toward developing engines that could better meet consumers' growing demand for power and reliability. Number 5. 1947 to 1948 Oldsmobile Series 60. 1947 to 1948. Oldsmobile Series 60 was designed as an affordable yet stylish vehicle for post-war American families. Powered by a 261 cubic inch inline-six engine, the Series 60 promised reliable transportation, but ultimately fell short due to a variety of mechanical and performance issues. Owners frequently reported overheating, carburetor problems, and sluggish performance, which rendered the car impractical for heavier loads or long-distance travel. The Series 60's challenges highlight the limitations of transitional post-war engineering and the constraints that many manufacturers faced in their efforts to meet growing consumer demands. The Series 60 represented Oldsmobile's attempt to produce a practical, family-friendly vehicle with an accessible price tag. Its straightforward design and mid-range features made it appealing to middle-class buyers looking for a reliable post-war vehicle. Oldsmobile equipped the Series 60 with a 261 cubic inch inline-six engine, a configuration intended to deliver a balance between power and efficiency. However, as Oldsmobile prioritized affordability, the engine's performance capabilities fell short, particularly as buyers sought greater power and reliability. The Series 60 was marketed to families and working individuals who needed a dependable car for daily commutes and moderate distance travel. However, the model's lack of torque and reliability issues became problematic for owners who used it for heavier loads or extended trips. The 261 cubic inch engine used a flathead inline-six configuration. While durable and relatively simple in design, the flathead layout had significant limitations in terms of airflow and efficiency, resulting in lower performance and slower acceleration. Although the engine's displacement was respectable, it struggled to produce sufficient power for the Series 60's weight and size. The flathead design, known for reliability over performance, couldn't provide the torque needed for smooth handling of heavier loads or faster acceleration. With modest power and relatively high fuel consumption, the engine was not particularly economical. Fuel efficiency lagged behind expectations, making the Series 60 expensive to operate over long distances. Despite its design intentions, the 261 inline-six engine encountered several recurring problems, which negatively impacted the Series 60's reputation. The engine's cooling system was often inadequate for prolonged operation. Due to limited heat dissipation in the flathead design, the engine overheated during extended drives or when carrying heavier loads. The flathead configuration led to uneven heat distribution, resulting in frequent overheating. In warmer climates, the cooling limitations became even more pronounced, making it a challenging vehicle to drive reliably. Frequent overheating stressed critical components like gaskets, seals, and pistons, leading to accelerated wear and reducing the engine's overall lifespan. The Series 60's carburetor often experienced issues that affected fuel-air mixture quality, leading to rough idling, stalling, and reduced performance. This made the car difficult to operate smoothly, especially at low speeds or under sudden acceleration. The carburetor's inefficiency also affected fuel economy, as poor fuel mixture control led to inconsistent consumption rates. Owners found themselves having to frequently adjust or repair the carburetor to maintain any semblance of fuel efficiency. The carburetor's recurring issues required regular maintenance, which increased the cost of ownership. These repairs were time-consuming and costly, adding to the frustrations of Series 60 owners. The 1947 to 1948 Oldsmobile Series 60, with its 261 cubic inch inline-six engine, was emblematic of the challenges faced by automakers in the post-war era. Although marketed as a practical vehicle, its overheating issues, carburetor malfunctions, and sluggish performance made it difficult for Oldsmobile to meet the evolving needs of consumers. While the Series 60 ultimately struggled to remain competitive, it contributed to the industry's push for innovations in cooling, fuel efficiency, and engine design. The Series 60's shortcomings underscored the importance of adapting engine technology to meet rising expectations for reliability and performance. Although the model may not have fulfilled its potential, the lessons learned from its engineering challenges paved the way for more robust and efficient engines in future generations of Oldsmobile vehicles. Number 4. 1948 Dodge Custom 6. 1948 Dodge Custom 6 was designed to provide a reliable and affordable driving experience for post-war American consumers. Equipped with a 241 cubic inch inline-six engine, it was marketed as a practical option for families and businesses. However, despite its solid reputation for basic reliability, the Custom 6 engine struggled with a variety of performance and mechanical issues that significantly impacted the driving experience. Problems such as overheating, oil leaks, and power deficiencies were common complaints, often requiring frequent maintenance to keep the vehicle running. These issues ultimately hindered the model's appeal, especially in more demanding driving conditions. The 1948 Dodge Custom 6 was part of Dodge's post-war lineup, designed to meet the demand for affordable, everyday cars. It aimed to provide dependable transportation for the growing middle-class family and small businesses. The model was equipped with practical features, but its performance shortcomings would limit its success in a competitive market. The 241 cubic inch inline-six engine was chosen for its simplicity and durability. While adequate for basic transportation, the engine's performance did not live up to the expectations of the era, especially as consumers began to demand more power and efficiency from their vehicles. The 241 cubic inch inline-six was a reliable engine in its time, but lacked the modern features necessary to compete with more powerful and efficient designs. As a flathead 6, it had a more primitive design than its overhead valve counterparts, leading to limitations in both power and fuel efficiency. The 241 cubic inch inline-six engine was underpowered, especially when compared to other engines of its class. While it was capable of basic driving, it struggled with acceleration, particularly when the vehicle was carrying heavy loads or navigating hilly terrain. This lack of power made the Dodge Custom 6 cumbersome to drive, frustrating owners who expected more performance from a mid-range car. Despite its relatively modest size, the engine's power-to-fuel ratio was less than optimal. The combination of poor performance and inefficient combustion resulted in mediocre fuel economy, further diminishing the appeal of the vehicle for budget-conscious buyers. One of the most frequent issues with the 241 inline-six engine was overheating. The cooling system was often inadequate, leading to elevated engine temperatures. This was particularly problematic during extended drives, uphill climbs, or when the car was carrying heavier loads. The flathead design did not have the same heat dissipation efficiency as later overhead valve engines, contributing to the engine's tendency to overheat. Overheating put additional strain on various engine components, including the gaskets, seals, and pistons. This resulted in premature wear and damage, causing owners to face expensive repairs and significantly shortening the lifespan of the engine. The 241 inline-six engine was prone to oil leaks, particularly from the valve covers, rear main seals, and timing cover. These leaks led to oil consumption issues and left a mess on the engine bay, requiring regular checks and oil refills. The constant need to top up the oil further raised maintenance costs and created a less than ideal ownership experience. Oil leaks compounded the overheating problem, as the engine was not able to maintain proper lubrication under high temperatures. Over time, this lack of proper lubrication could cause even further engine damage, leading to more significant mechanical issues. Reputation for reliability but lacking power. While the 1948 Dodge Custom 6 earned a reputation for being relatively reliable for everyday driving, it was quickly overshadowed by competitors that offered more powerful and efficient engines. Its sluggish acceleration and poor performance under load made it a less attractive choice for consumers looking for a balance of performance and practicality. As car buyers began to expect more power and performance from their vehicles, the Custom 6's engine struggled to meet those demands. Overheating, oil leaks, and poor acceleration were not conducive to the growing trend of more powerful, high-performance cars that began emerging in the late 1940s and early 1950s. The Dodge Custom 6 and its engine demonstrated the growing demand for higher performance engines that could handle both daily driving and heavier loads. Dodge's inability to keep pace with these evolving consumer expectations marked a turning point in its post-war engineering. The 1948 Dodge Custom 6 and its 241 cubic inch inline-six engine serve as a reminder of the limitations faced by post-war automakers in balancing reliability, power, and performance. While the car was marketed as a reliable option for families and businesses, it suffered from overheating, oil leaks, underpowered performance, and frequent mechanical issues. Number 3. 1941. Packard 110. 1941. Packard 110 was part of Packard's entry-level series, designed to offer a more affordable option in the luxury car market. Packard was renowned for crafting high-end vehicles that delivered both style and performance, but the 110 model presented some engineering compromises. Despite its upscale positioning, the 110 was equipped with a 245 cubic inch inline-six engine, which, although reliable in some respects, struggled with performance issues that detracted from the car's overall appeal. The engine was underpowered for the vehicle's size, and many owners faced persistent problems with overheating, valve issues, and poor fuel economy, which increased the overall cost of ownership. The Packard 110 was introduced as a more affordable alternative to Packard's higher-end models, targeting middle to upper-middle-class buyers who wanted the luxury experience without the high price tag. Despite its more modest price, the 110 still carried the Packard reputation for elegance, solid craftsmanship, and superior materials. The 245 cubic inch inline-six engine was selected for the 110 to provide adequate power for a luxury car at a lower cost. While the engine was large enough to meet basic demands, it was not optimized for performance, and as a result, it had significant drawbacks in terms of acceleration, fuel economy, and long-term reliability. The 245 inline-six was a relatively conventional engine design, characterized by its smoothness and simplicity. However, by 1941, it was becoming outdated, especially for a car marketed as a luxury model. Its flathead design, though reliable in the past, lacked the power and refinement expected from higher-end vehicles. The engine produced approximately 104 horsepower, which was underwhelming for a car of its size and price range. This lack of power was noticeable in everyday driving, particularly during acceleration and while cruising at higher speeds. Despite the large engine displacement, the performance fell short of what buyers had come to expect from Packard. One of the most significant issues with the 245 inline-six engine was its inability to generate the necessary torque for smooth acceleration. Owners frequently reported that the engine struggled to provide adequate power for hill climbs or rapid acceleration, which was particularly disappointing for a car that was supposed to provide a luxurious driving experience. Whether driving through the city or on highways, the the 110's engine was sluggish, especially when the car was fully loaded with passengers or cargo. This underperformance in a luxury car was a notable flaw, especially when compared to competitors that offered more powerful, refined engines in the same price range. One of the most persistent complaints with the 245 inline-six engine was its tendency to overheat. The engine's cooling system struggled to keep the temperatures in check, especially during longer trips or when the car was working harder, e.g., climbing hills, carrying heavier loads. This overheating problem caused stress on engine components, leading to premature wear and requiring more frequent maintenance. Overheating not only increased the likelihood of engine damage, but also contributed to additional issues like gasket failure and oil leaks, further complicating maintenance. Extended exposure to high temperatures caused metal parts to expand and contract, leading to eventual deterioration of seals and gaskets. Another common problem with the 245 inline-six was related to the valve system. Over time, the engine's valves would become prone to sticking, especially as carbon deposits accumulated on them. This issue led to poor engine performance and, in some cases, burnt valves. Frequent valve issues made the engine costly to maintain, as the valves needed to be cleaned and adjusted regularly. This was not only time-consuming, but also required skilled labor, which added to the overall cost of ownership. The 1941 Packard 110 and its 245 inline-six engine offer an interesting case study in early 1940s automotive engineering. While Packard was known for crafting luxurious and high-quality vehicles, the 110 fell short of the performance expectations that typically came with the brand. The engine's underpowered performance, overheating, valve issues, and poor fuel efficiency made the 110 less appealing in a competitive market. The 110's challenges illustrate the growing demand for more powerful and efficient engines, a trend that would come to dominate the automotive industry in the years following World War II. Despite the 110's shortcomings, it remains a part of Packard's rich history, representing both the strengths and limitations of early 1940s engineering as the industry was poised to enter a new era of automotive innovation. Number 2. 1947 Lincoln Continental. 1947 Lincoln Continental is a landmark in American luxury car history, offering an elegant design and a powerful engine that aimed to set a new standard for high-end vehicles. It was one of the most prestigious models in the Lincoln lineup, aimed at delivering both style and performance. The 292 cubic inch V12 engine was one of its standout features, promising smoothness and power typical of a V12 configuration. However, while the engine provided ample power for its era, it was plagued with several significant reliability issues, including frequent overheating, oil leaks, and high maintenance costs. These problems significantly detracted from the Lincoln Continental's appeal and often led to expensive ownership experiences, causing many buyers to rethink the long-term viability of this engine. The 1947 Lincoln Continental was designed to appeal to wealthy buyers looking for a combination of power, luxury, and prestige. Its sleek design, luxurious interior, and advanced features made it one of the most celebrated vehicles of its time, embodying the epitome of American automotive sophistication. Lincoln's goal with the Continental was to rival other luxury marques, such as Cadillac and Packard, while offering an exclusive driving experience. The 292 cubic inch, 4.8-liter V12 engine was chosen to provide the power and smoothness expected from a luxury car. With 120 horsepower, it was certainly capable of propelling the Continental with considerable authority, especially for its era. However, while it offered power, the engine came with substantial trade-offs in terms of reliability and long-term durability. The 292 V12 engine was an impressive technical feat, with 12 cylinders arranged in a V configuration, providing smooth power delivery. This made it highly refined compared to the more common V8 or inline-six engines found in the mid-honor to late 1940s. The engine was often praised for its smoothness, as the V12 configuration inherently reduced vibration, offering a more serene ride. The 292 V12 produced around 120 horsepower, which was significant for the time, particularly for a luxury car designed for comfort and style. It was marketed as a high-performance engine that could effortlessly handle highway cruising and provide a serene driving experience. As with many V12 engines of the era, it was engineered for smoothness and refinement rather than outright power. However, the 292 V12 suffered from several key flaws that detracted from its overall performance and reputation. One of the most significant issues with the 292 V12 was its tendency to overheat, particularly during extended driving or in warmer climates. Despite being a large, powerful engine, the cooling system was often inadequate to handle the engine's heat output. This problem was exacerbated by the fact that V12 engines typically have more complex cooling requirements due to the larger number of cylinders. The overheating caused undue strain on engine components, including the cylinder heads, gaskets, and radiator, leading to a variety of mechanical failures. When the engine overheated, it could result in long-term damage to these critical components, increasing repair costs and reducing the vehicle's overall reliability. The overheating problem required frequent cooling system maintenance, including radiator flushes, thermostat replacements, and water pump repairs. For many owners, these regular maintenance requirements were seen as both time-consuming and costly. Another major issue with the 292 V12 engine was its propensity for oil leaks, particularly around the valve covers, gaskets, and oil pan. These leaks were caused by several factors, including the engine's aging seals, the complexity of the V12 configuration, and the increased engine heat that caused gaskets to become brittle and ineffective. While oil leaks were somewhat common in older engines, the 292 V12's frequent leaks contributed to both performance and reliability issues. The leaks caused the engine to burn more oil, resulting in frequent oil top-ups and an increased likelihood of engine damage from lack of lubrication. Fixing oil leaks on a V12 engine is more complicated than on smaller engines due to the increased number of cylinders and the difficulty in accessing certain parts of the engine. As a result, repairs were often labor-intensive and expensive, adding to the overall maintenance burden for owners. The 1947 Lincoln Continental with its 292 V12 engine is a fascinating study in luxury automotive engineering, offering a powerful and smooth driving experience for its time. However, the engine's persistent overheating, oil leaks, high maintenance costs, and fuel inefficiency undermined its long-term appeal, making it less reliable than many luxury car buyers would expect. Despite these flaws, the Lincoln Continental remains a hallmark of post-war American luxury. Number 1. 941 Pontiac Torpedo. 1941. Pontiac Torpedo was a significant model in Pontiac's lineup during the early 1940s, representing a blend of affordable luxury and modern styling. It was aimed at the middle-class market, offering a more refined driving experience compared to entry-level models. However, beneath its stylish exterior, the 239 cubic inch, 3.9 liters, inline-six engine posed numerous problems for its owners. Known for its poor performance, overheating, and the need for frequent mechanical adjustments, this engine quickly gained a reputation for being costly to maintain, detracting from the overall appeal of the Pontiac Torpedo. The 1941 Pontiac Torpedo was part of Pontiac's effort to create a vehicle that combined affordability with upscale features. It featured a pontoon-style body, which was characterized by rounded flowing fenders and a more modern aesthetic compared to earlier, boxier designs. Positioned between the more economical models and the premium offerings, the Torpedo was meant to provide the average American family with a more comfortable and stylish ride without the high cost of full luxury models. The car was well received for its looks but struggled in terms of performance, particularly due to the limitations of its 239 inline-six engine. The 239 cubic inch, 3.9-liter inline-six engine was a straightforward design that aimed to provide dependable performance at an affordable price. However, by the early 1940s, the engine was beginning to show its age. As vehicles began to demand more power and efficiency, the inline-six design, although reliable, struggled to keep up with newer technologies and expectations for smooth, powerful driving experiences. The engine was capable of producing 85 horsepower, which at the time was adequate for basic transportation. However, the power output was not enough to provide brisk acceleration or meet the demands of higher speeds, especially in a heavier car like the Torpedo. This lack of power became evident during real-world driving, particularly on highways and in hilly areas. Despite its reliability in terms of basic operation, the 239 inline-six engine had several flaws that made it less than ideal for those looking for a smooth and enjoyable driving experience. It became clear that this engine was better suited for slower, more leisurely drives rather than the demands of modern driving. One of the most significant issues with the 239 inline-six was its underperformance. At just 85 horsepower, the engine struggled to provide adequate acceleration, especially when the car was fully loaded or when driving on inclines. This made the Pontiac Torpedo feel sluggish and underpowered compared to competitors with more powerful engines, such as V8s or even some larger six-cylinder configurations. While not unusual for its era, the lack of power became a serious drawback for drivers who wanted a more dynamic driving experience. Whether merging onto highways or passing slower vehicles, the 239 inline-six frequently required more time and effort to keep up with traffic, which led to frustration for owners. Overheating was a major problem for the 239 inline-six engine, particularly in warmer climates or during extended driving. While the cooling system was relatively standard for the time, it was not robust enough to handle the demands of the engine, leading to engine strain and potential damage. The overheating issue could lead to premature wear on engine components such as the gaskets, valves, and pistons. This exacerbated other mechanical issues, as the engine components would frequently need repairs or replacement due to heat damage. To combat overheating, owners often had to service the cooling system, replacing parts like the radiator, thermostat, and water pump on a regular basis. This not only increased the cost of ownership, but also led to a frustrating and labor-intensive experience for owners. The 239 inline-six was also known for frequent valve problems, with owners reporting issues such as sticking valves, misalignment, and improper valve clearance. These issues could lead to rough engine performance, loss of power, and in some cases, complete engine failure if left unaddressed. In addition to valve problems, the engine's carburetor was prone to malfunctions, which often resulted in poor fuel efficiency, rough idling, and inconsistent acceleration. Carburetor issues also meant that the engine would require frequent tune-ups and adjustments to keep it running smoothly, which added to the overall cost of ownership. With regular adjustments needed for the carburetor and valves, the 239 inline-six was a high-maintenance engine. The constant need for repairs and fine-tuning made it an expensive engine to keep in good working order, leading to dissatisfaction among owners who expected a more reliable driving experience.